My eyes pry open the next morning, with the sun shining through the curtains. I held back a yawn, my arms stretched to the other side of the bed to find it empty, and a frown crossed my face, knowing that I hadn't woken up with him by my side. I rolled over to the other side of the bed, getting down to my feet, when I caught sight of a flower vase close to the window. A smile bloomed on my face when I saw that it was my favorite flower, the blue iris. I reached for it, inspecting it, my smile not wavering. King Sviatoslavic had been the one to pick it himself this morning. I yelped, my hand on my chest, as I spun around to see Gala standing behind me. "You scared me, Gala. I apologize, Your Highness, it wasn't my intention." She said this, bowing her head to me. "I have come to get you ready for the day." I nod, walking into the bath chamber. Gala helped wash my hair, filling the water with scented flowers. After the bath, I got out of the water with a robe around my body before making it back to the bedchamber, taking my place in front of the mirror while Gala got me ready for the day. She began her task, starting with my hair, then powdering my face, and finishing it up with painting my lips. When she was done, she moved away from the mirror, letting me get a proper look at myself after sitting in the same spot for an hour. I gasped out edible when I took in my reflection. In the mirror, I couldn't help but be complimented on how beautiful I looked. The gown I had on was delicate yet so elegant, it was embroidered with appliques and pale blue pearl lace. Gala gazes at me through the mirror with a prideful look as she bends to lock the necklace, a pendant with both sapphire and diamond designs given to me by Darium's mother, Queen Vasiliki. A knock on the door caught both Gala and my attention, and Gala walked over to the door to see who it was. She opened it, and I heard the sound of murmuring before she closed it back, returning to my side. "They are ready for you, Your Highness," Gala informs me, and I rise to my feet, giving myself one last look before walking out of the room. We walked over to the entrance of the throne room, and like expected, Darium was standing outside, looking insanely handsome as ever with a matching color of royal attire. "You never cease to amaze me," he beams, stretching out his hand for me to take, which I did, standing beside him. "How can you manage to leave me breathless every single time?" He leans down to peck my forehead, gazing lovingly at me, causing me to blush. "Happy birthday, Letitia!" In his eyes, he wishes me never-ending love. His gaze moved from my face to my neck, and the smile on his face widened. "I'm glad you like the necklace." He grabbed it gently from my neck. "I wanted to be the one to give it to you, but sadly, I had to attend to something before the celebration began." "Thank you, it's beautiful." I beamed. "Not as much as you are." The guards held onto the two sides of the door, pushing it open. We walked towards the seat at the end of the room, the people cleared the way for us, courteously bowing their heads and wishing me a happy birthday. I take a seat next to Darium, staring at the throne room filled with a lot of people. Noble men and women gathered among each other, laughing, discussing, drinking, and enjoying each other. Taking in the beautiful blue and golden design that filled the room. People walked up to us to pay their respect, wishing me well before joining the rest of the crowd. "Are you hungry?" Darium whispered, and I shook my head, letting him know I wasn't. "If I get hungry, I will let you know," I replied with a smile. He nods, returning his gaze back to the people in front of him. "Letitia." I turned my head to see Neith standing beside me with a huge grin on her face. "You look beautiful, Letitia, it's like this dress was made specially for you," she gushes, admiring the designs and embroidery in the gown. "You haven't been here for up to 5 minutes, and you are already gaining so much attention." I followed her eye movements to see lots of eyes on me from different sides of the room. Some gazed at me in wonder and awe, while others seemed envious. Alvar wanted to come, and kept throwing tantrums, saying he had to wish you on your celebration. Neith carried on, which caused my heart to melt. It took a lot of convincing to get him to stay. I told him you were going to spend the whole day with him the next day, that way he could give you his gift. "Thank you, Neith." I said this just as the maids walked in with the food in their hands. Darium stretched his hand for me to take again, which I gladly did, and we both walked over to our seats at the large table, taking our seats first before the rest of the people followed suit. I sat beside Darium with Neith beside me. My father was on the other side of the king with my mother beside him. None of them said a word to me, acting like they didn't see me, which made me wonder if they were done with their charades. Just a few days ago, they were trying to suck up to me, and now they were back to pretending like I didn't exist. I wasn't at all bothered by their behavior. It wasn't like I sought their approval. My gaze wandered away from them, moving over to my brother, who sat beside our mother. His eyes were already on me, and his lips parted like he was about to say something, but I looked away from me to his wife, Minerva, who was sitting beside him. She smiled at me, muttering a happy birthday underneath her breath. I returned her smile, thanking her. It has only been 2 days since we met each other, but in those 2 days, I could tell she was a really nice and caring person, totally different from what I had thought she was. During one of our conversations, she told me how she felt about the affairs of Ahades and how it was being ruled and how much she detested it. I finally settled my gaze on Kaytrona, who, like always, was already glaring at me, throwing daggers my way, and I rolled my eyes, returning back to Darium. The food was served, and the sound of cutlery filled the room as we all began eating. The people chatted amongst each other while Darium continued filling my plate with food. It took an hour before we all finished eating, and we all made our way to the ballroom, where all the fun was about to begin. Music filled the room along with the cheers of the people, who danced to the beat of the songs being played by the musicians. "Can I have this dance?" Darium asked with love shown in his eyes, and I nodded, placing my hand on his, and we both set out to the dance floor. We both danced to the beat of the songs, doing the Nisha traditional dance along with the people on the dance floor. More people joined us on the dance floor, with loud cheering. "Do you mind?" A voice interrupted our dance, and Zane stretched his hand to take mine from Darium, who reluctantly let go of my hand before whispering something in Zane's ear that had him gulping. We both began dancing as Darium walked over to Nico. "I think I just got threatened with having my head decapitated if I touched you in an inappropriate manner." Zane's voice quivered, making me laugh. "You don't actually believe him, do you?" I asked, staring at his frightened form. "My husband isn't as brutal as beheading his best friend for touching his wife in a way he doesn't like." "You are enjoying this, aren't you?" Zane says it blankly, with a hint of playfulness underneath his tone. I nodded my head in response, causing him to shake his head. "The both of you are a perfect fit for each other." I chuckled as we continued dancing, having small conversations with him about the gift he had gotten for me. We pulled apart when the music stopped, and I was about to make my way towards Darium when a figure blocked me, causing me to stop. Glancing up at the person in front of me, my jaw clenched when I saw my brother, Prince Devlin, standing there with a pleading and guilty look on his face. I made an attempt to walk past him, but he followed, blocking me. "Letitia, can I talk to you?" "No," I answered sternly, ready to leave. "Please, just give me 5 minutes of your time," he pleaded, his eyes blurry. I stood there staring at him, not sure if I should comply with his request. I knew he had been trying to talk to me since he arrived here, but I didn't bother giving him a chance, and now here he was, trying to talk to me again. I took a deep breath and sent him a death glare before speaking. "You have 5 minutes and nothing more." He smiles, taking a hold of my hand and dragging me back to the dance floor. "You look beautiful." He compliments me, beaming at me. "4 more minutes." Devlin sighs, knowing it's going to take more than a compliment to get me to warm up to him. "I'm sorry," he cried out. "I hurt you with my actions. I should have stood up for you more whenever our parents and Kaytrona belittled you. I should have taken better care of you as your big brother, and I'm sorry I failed you." 3 minutes. "I know I hurt you dearly when you were married off to King Sviatoslavic against your will, and it was my fault, but I didn't do it because I hated you or loved Kaytrona more than you." He continues. "The both of you are my little sister, and I love the both of you equally, even though Kaytrona could be a little dramatic and annoying sometimes." At this point, I felt my heart begin to warm up, and the anger I was feeling slowly began to dissolve as I listened to his words. "When I asked them to let you marry the king instead of Kaytrona, it wasn't because I wanted you gone. I knew how lonely you were at the palace and how much you hated it. I couldn't stand seeing you fight every day to gain our parents' love. Yes, the Nishas were savage when it came to war, and the other tribe was scared of them, but despite everything, they treat their women with the utmost respect and care, and you deserve that. He rambles out. I'm not trying to make any excuse for what I did, I just want you to know that I'm sorry, and if you do decide to give me a chance, I will be the brother you deserve. I love you, Letitia. By now I was certain I had tears falling from my eyes, and I wasn't the only one as Devlin joined in, bawling our eyes out. Thank you, Devlin, I said. Thank you for apologizing, I didn't know how much I needed to hear those words till you said them, and I do forgive you. I thought you didn't like me and probably just felt pity for me. So thank you. No, thank you, Letitia, for giving me another chance in your life again. This time I promise to cherish it with everything in me. He said this, hugging me tightly, and I hugged him back. Devlin placed a kiss on the side of my head. Happy birthday, Letitia. Devlin placed a kiss on the side of my head. Happy birthday, Letitia. We were both so caught up in each other's embrace that the sound of the ballroom door had us stepping back to see who had made an entrance. My lips parted when I saw the last person I least expected standing there with a devious smile on her face. What is she doing here? I whispered under my breath, my face had a big scorn in it. Devlin looked at me worriedly before shifting his gaze back at the door where she stood. Do you know her? Yes, I do, I answered through gritted teeth. Judging from the look on your face, you don't like her. Did she do something to you? I nod my head. I didn't get the chance to answer him properly when I felt a hand wrapped around my waist. I turning my head and I found Darium standing beside me. His expression was cold as he glanced at the door, but his eyes were not on the woman who had walked in but on the man beside her. We watched as the two duos made their way towards us with a smile I was certain was not real on both their faces. They stopped a foot from us. The woman had her hand placed on the man's chest. King Sviatoslavic, the man said to Darium. He was dressed in fancy, royal-looking attire, which told me he was someone of high importance. I see you have come, King Orin. Darium responded in an equally passive tone. King Orin moved his gaze away from Darium to glance stopping on me, with a smirk dancing around his lips. His eyes made me feel so uncomfortable that I wished he would just look away me. I believe this is our first time meeting, Queen Sviatoslavic. He said this as he took my hand and kissed it. You look really beautiful and elegant, the rumors do you no justice. I can understand why King Sviatoslavic snatched you up for himself, it is too bad. I would have loved to have you to myself. I tried not to seem affected by his words, everything about him just seems to irk me. Darium's hand around my waist tightened, and I knew he was pissed and minutes away from exploding. I placed my hand at his back, causing him to gaze at me. He must have seen the look in my eyes because his gaze softened, and he sank in a deep breath. The last thing we needed was to start a war with the king of Hyatia, even though he was being disrespectful and annoying. Prince Devlin, forgive my rudeness. I forgot you were here. King Orin said this with a devilish grin on his face. King Orin, it's been a while. The last time we met you were declaring war against our kingdom. Devlin responded blankly. King Orin placed a hand on his chest, acting like he was affected by my brother's words. You can't still be infuriated about that, you and your kingdom got away unscratched, and all thanks go to King Sviatoslavic. Without him, there was no way Hades would have stood a chance. Devlin's jaw tickled as he glared daggers at him. The king carried on talking in all his arrogance. Besides, it's all in the past. I see no reason to attack Hades, I have my eyes on something else. He says this, turning to look at me, and Darium moves over to stand in front of me. I wasn't seeing his face, but from the way King Orin gulped, I could tell he was frightened by the look on Darium's face. I better carry on with my way. King Orin said this after clearing his throat and walking away from me along with the woman in his hand. I shot a glare her way, to which she responded with a cheeky smirk, walking to the other side of the ballroom to mingle with some of the royal families from different kingdoms that came to celebrate with me. I hate the very gut of him. Devlin blurts out. You and me both, you and me both. I was shocked when Darium responded, agreeing with him. The two men looked at each other, surprised as well, and a small smile made its way to my face. Devlin turns away awkwardly, walking towards his wife, which causes me to chuckle. "I see some bromance brewing," I said as Darium turned around, giving me an apprehensive look. "Oh, come on, it won't kill you to be friends with my brother." "I didn't know the two of you had gotten close," he said, confused. Well, he apologized, and I forgave him. "Really, Letitia, you are too soft-hearted," he mutters. I saw the look in his eyes. He was sincere. He is actually the only one in my family who had the guts to admit his mistake and apologize to me. Despite that, he always tried to protect me in his own way. I will try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I make no promises. Even though he has wised up a little, don't expect me to like him, because the only Ventura I like is you. He said it with a cheeky smile, looking down at me lovingly. Wait, you aren't a Ventura anymore since you are married to me. He said it as if he were just realizing that now, making me laugh out loud. Are you just realizing that now, and we have been married for close to a year now? I'm disappointed, dear husband. I tease. You make it sound like I am dumb. Of course I knew. I was just correcting my mistake. Yeah, sure, I said sarcastically. You need to be punished. Darium picks me up immediately, twirling me around and causing me to squeal with laughter. Our moment didn't last long, though, as a man walked over to us, making Darium put me down to my feet. He bows before whispering something to his ears. Can you give me an hour, little bird? I need to attend a brief meeting with the kings present. I will be back as fast as I can, so enjoy the party. He pecked my lips before making his way out of the ballroom. The smile was still on my face as I walked back to the seats reserved for the king and queen. I watched as the people danced and celebrated. Some smiled and bowed at me before I caught sight of a particular woman walking over to me. Letitia, I see you are looking better than the last time I saw you. Though I'm not sure much has changed, Tegan said, the smile on her face never wavered. It's Queen Letitia. I corrected her, putting on a fake smile on my face as well. We aren't friends to be our first names without our title, isn't that right, Lady Tegan? I'm a little disappointed, and here I was thinking we had some history together. I don't remember being anything but charming towards you. Is there anything I can do for you, or have you come to ruin my mood? Oh, quite being bitter. It doesn't suit you. She mocks. I only came to wish you on your happy occasion. By bringing the king of Hyattia, I said, staring blankly at her. I guess he was curious to see the Queen of Nishes. Trust me, my words did you no justice, she stated. I gave my very best thought of you to him, using my best decent words. I scoffed, raising an eyebrow. Aren't you tired of this, Lady Tegan? I know we have been having constant argument every single time we are in the same room. It's quite tiring and less amusing, driving me to a state of boredom. Do you mind if I cut in on your little chat? King Oren said, gazing down at me. Not at all, Your Majesty, Tegan was quick to say before walking out. May I have this dance? The king said this, stretching his arms towards me. I glanced at him skeptically, wondering why he was acting this way. I took the king's hand, allowing him to walk me to the dance floor. His moves were elegant, spinning us around when we got to the dance floor. Why are you here and not in the meeting room? He laughed, spinning me around. I see no reason why I should be there. I already have someone representing me. Besides, dancing with you right now is important. He answered, staring deeply into my eyes. You are truly beautiful, Letitia. It makes me want to claim you for myself. The glint in his eyes let me know that he actually meant what he said. The way his hand moved on my body was beginning to disgust me because his touch didn't feel innocent but dirty. I wanted to take a step back and end the dance when his grip on my waist tightened and he leaned down to whisper in my ear. I guess there is nothing stopping me from claiming you as mine. All I need to do is get rid of a few casualties and you're mine. My breath hitched, our bodies were close to each other, and I felt the fear grip. His laughter booms through the music in the ballroom, and his hand reaches up to brush through my hair. "Relax, Queen Svitozlevic, it was only a joke." He says this before letting me go, taking a step back. He bows before walking out of the dance floor and out of the ballroom, with Tegan trailing behind him. She smirks at me as the door closes. I tried not to be bothered by them as the celebration continued. Darium kept to his promise, returning after an hour, and we kept the next hours of the celebration, dancing, talking, and having a great time. Despite Tegan and King Oren's presence, I was able to have a great time. Besides, they didn't return to the ballroom after they left. "What the hell are you doing? Why are you here?" The woman sneered, scowling at Tegan, who stood by the window with her hands crossed together. "What did you expect me to do?" Tegan spat angrily. Right now, all she felt was anger and hatred directed at one particular woman. I can't stand when that bitch is happy after stealing what was supposed to be mine. "We had a plan, Tegan, you stay away for a while, and I handle things here in Nisha's. She already trusts me, so she won't suspect anything. Can't we just kill her?" "No, change of plans," the man says, getting up from the bed, his button undone. "You can't seriously tell me you are smitten by her," Oren, Tegan said, letting out a scoff. "What if I am?" he responded, his lips raised up to the side. I must say her beauty and innocence caught my attention. I have never seen any woman so enticing like her. "Speak some sense to him," Tegan mutters, looking at the woman standing before her. "It is of no use to us what he wants to do with her as long as we get what we want," the woman responded, rolling her eyes. "Ugh, you two are unbelievable," Tegan says, turning back to face the window. "Go back to Hayatia." "What? I just got here and you want me to leave? How heartless can you get? Can you stop with the tantrums, Tegan, and think? With you and him here, they will be guarded, or have you forgotten how little they trust you?" The woman snapped. "You both need to go if you want our plan to succeed." I am up with the second phrase. "Since King Svitozlevic refuses to heed to my warnings, why don't we break their trust? If Letitia doesn't trust him, it will bring a distance to their relationship, and I have just the perfect idea. It has something to do with a very heart-wrenching dead child." The woman laughed out loud, her laughter filled with darkness and menace. She had only one aim in mind, and she didn't mind doing anything to achieve it, even if it meant giving her soul to the devil. "Now that we are done talking, I could think of a couple fun things to do, instead of arguing," King Oren said, walking over to the woman as he leans down to capture her lips in his. Tegan walked towards them, joining in on the fun. I giggle loudly, staring down at the gift given to me by Zane for my birthday. My fingers brush over its fur, and it purrs, rubbing his head against my jaw. Its white milk fur shines brighter with the sun shining on it, and it felt soft and slick against my fingers. His long tail swirled towards my face, adorning me with his hair. His tongue rasped against my face, causing me to let out a series of giggles. Alvar sat in the garden with me, patting the little dog in my hand as he laughed out loud. It's been 2 days since my celebration, and most of the guests were already on their way home, while the rest wanted to explore the towns before leaving, and I just didn't want to leave the palace. I'm sure you know exactly who I'm talking about. "What's its name?" Alvar asked, snapping me out of my thoughts, and I smiled, glancing down at him. "I'm not sure yet, I haven't really thought of one," I answered, thinking of a name to give the little mutt. "Would you like to name him?" I asked after some time. I really wasn't sure what name would be befitting for him. Alvar had a huge grin at my question, and his eyes twinkled as he nodded his head. He tilted his head to the side, like he was thinking, before his eyes lit up again. "How about Titan?" "Titan, with great strength and intellect," I repeated. "I like it." Raising the dog up to my face, I bumped my nose with it. "From now on, you are Titan." He must have liked his new name, because he barked, wiggling his tail. Alvar and I remained on the floor of the garden, patting little Titan. A beautiful bracelet made of precious gold decorated with bright diamonds sparkled on my wrist. It was given to me by Alvar yesterday, after I went to see him. He had been so psyched when I told him I liked it before putting it on my wrist. It's amazing how much both of us have gotten close to each other. After buckling in the sun for 2 hours, we decided to go back into the palace. I held on to Alvar's little hand with Titan in my other hand as we walked towards Alvar's room. When we got there, I pushed the door open to see most of his things already packed and ready. He spins around to gaze at me with a sad look in his eyes. "Can you not come with me?" he asked lowly, and I saw the tears brewing in his eyes. I slouched down to my feet, letting Titan roam the room. My fingers raised up to brush through his hair before moving down to cup his cheek. "I wish I could, baby, but I can't." "Why?" he asked, the tears already falling from his eyes. "Is it because King Darium won't let you out of his sight, and loves you just as much as I do?" My heart broke seeing the tears in his eyes. I didn't like the fact that he was hurt. "True." I laughed weakly. "But that's not all, baby," I told him, pulling his small body towards me and hugging him tightly. His body shakes as he cries even more. "It's okay, Alvar," I whispered softly. "Even though I can't go with you, that doesn't mean I won't come visit you, and you can always come visit me as well." He stopped, and his teary eyes watched me to see if I was indeed telling the truth. "Do you mean it, Dot?" "Yes, love, now stop crying," I cooed, wiping the tears off his face again. "Besides, Lord Zane is a nice and fun person to be with. I know he is going to take absolutely good care of you." We were sending him to Silvio with Zane. It was a last-minute decision, but the only one we could come up with at the moment. Not after King Orin's visit to the palace. It wasn't like we couldn't take better care of him and protect him from harm's way, but it was safer if he went to Silvio with Zane. The only people who knew about this arrangement were Darium, Nico, Neith, and me. Let's not forget Zane. We didn't want anyone to know about it. I admit I was a bit surprised when Zane volunteered to take care of him because he wasn't really the father figure type, not with his playboy ways. But he promised not to get all that close to Alvar, and we trust him. They were going to leave this night with 3 guards, not to draw any suspicion. Softly stroking Alvar's curled locks, I picked him up from the floor, taking him into my hands as I walked over to the bed, then sat on it before laying him down with his head resting on my lap. My hand continues to brush over his hair while I hum a soft lullaby, which he has gotten accustomed to. "Little baby in the dark house, you have seen the sun rise. Why are you crying? Why are you screaming? You have disturbed the house god." "Who has disturbed me?" says the house god. "It is the baby who has disturbed you." "Who scared me?" says the house god. "The baby has disturbed you, the baby has scared you." Making noises like a drunkard who cannot sit still on his stool. "He has disturbed your sleep. Call the baby now," says the house god. "I will miss you, mother," he murmurs under his breath, but I was able to hear it. Now it was my turn to bawl my eyes out, sitting there as I silently cried. "I will miss you too, my baby boy." I bend a little to place a kiss on his forehead before carrying along with my lullaby. It wasn't long before his breath began to even, indicating that he was fast asleep. I gently moved his head, resting it on a pillow, slowly getting off the bed so as not to wake him. Titan was laying beside him on the bed, fast asleep as well. The two of them looked absolutely cute. I gave them one last look before making my way to my chambers. Gala was already waiting for me outside the door of my room. She bowed when she saw me, opening the door for me. "Can you run me a bath? I need to get the fur off my body," I said to her, causing her to immediately spring into action. Gala was done in no time, getting the bath ready for me. I took off my clothes, walked into the bath chamber, and washed the fur of my body before changing into a clean dress. My hair and face were fixed again. I set out of my room, heading towards Darium's office, when a sight in front of me caused me to halt my footsteps. Tegan and Katrona were at the far end of the hall, whispering to each other. Tegan seemed to be saying something to my beloved sister, who in return had a devilish smirk on her face, which made me curious to know what they were talking about. "I guess birds of the same feather flock together." Neitha's voice rang from behind me as she came to stand beside me. "I guess they do," I said, watching them. When did these two become this close, though I'm not surprised? I was wondering the same thing myself. I responded again as the two in question let out a loud laugh. They must have noticed eyes on them because their heads shot up, gazing in our direction. Kaytrona's face turned pale white, noticing my presence before it was gone as fast as it came, while Tegan had that evil glint still in her eyes, her lips raised up. She walked towards us, swaying her hips and body like she was trying to seduce someone. Stopping a few feet from us. Neith, Letitia. Isn't this a sight for sore eyes? She mocks. I'm surprised at how close you both have grown. I wish I could stand and talk to you, honestly, I do wish. Neith replied in a bored tone. But you know it would just be a waste of breath and time on my part, and clearly, I don't have the time for you. Do take your time exploring Hayatia, hopefully you will get lost and never return. She concluded with a smile on her face, then proceeded to drag me along with her away from a scowling Tegan. We walked past Kaytrona, and Neith sent a sneer her way as she continued to drag me out until we got to another hallway. I stared at her, seeing the tired look on her face. Her eyes didn't have their usual glint, which got me worried, making me wonder if something was wrong with her. Are you okay? She sighs, shaking her head. I'm not. What's going on? I asked worriedly. Nico and I had a bit of a misunderstanding and said some hurtful words to each other. Now I feel kind of guilty because everything was all my fault. What happened? He wanted to try for more children, but I didn't. I raised an eyebrow at her. Don't get me wrong, I love my daughter, but I feel like she is more than enough. She is already a handful, and I don't want to start worrying about another child. Ugh, I sound so selfish, right? Well, I don't have the right to judge you. It's your body, and if you feel you can't handle another child, then it's up to you. I'm very much certain Nico won't force you into doing something you don't want to. But how would you know how you feel if you didn't try? I'm sure Nico wants to have a son he can do things with, probably things he can't do with Celeste. You both already have a beautiful little girl, and you are doing an amazing job raising her. You know for a fact that most royal families hardly contribute to the well-being of their children, only when it comes to their royal duties. So why don't you think about it again, and tell Nico how you feel about it? I'm certain you both can work things out. I concluded my words, and by the time I was done, she had tears running down her face. This was the first time I had seen her this valuable. It must have been eating up on her. I held onto her, hugging her tightly, which she gladly reciprocated. Thank you, Letitia. She says this, taking a step back. I'm glad I can help. I smiled at her. Neith cleans the tears from her face, putting up a smile. Where were you heading to? She asked, changing the subject. Oh, I was going to check on Darium, but I don't mind spending time with you. I beamed, locking arms with her, and she laughed. I made my way to the stable where Darium was. He had asked one of the guards to inform me of his whereabouts, telling me to change into riding clothes. I was excited to go on another ride with him, even though I still haven't had the chance to learn how to ride yet. I know he was trying to cheer me up after Alvar left for Silvio 2 days ago. It was heart-wrenching, how much I missed him, and I keep telling myself it was for his own good. Despite my feelings being down, I was thankful for the fact that Tegan and King Orin already left, returning back to Hayatia. When I got to the stable, I was able to spot Darium along with the stable workers. He stood in front of Elemen and Belius, his horse, feeding them. His head shot up when he saw me, giving me that beautiful smile of his that had my heart warming up. I got closer to him, standing beside him as I picked up grass to feed the horses as well. How about we go for a ride down the lake? He asked, and I nodded in response, excited to be able to see the wonderful view of the lake. You have rode on Elemen by yourself, so I guess you have no problem. He tells me, helping me up on the horse. I'm not so sure about that, it's been a while. It will be fine. Elemen likes you, so you don't have to be scared about her throwing you off to the ground. He chuckled. He climbed onto Belius, and we both rode out of the stable, riding into the open field, heading towards the lake.